scattered throughout the water is when the light comes through here, and it's like I was telling you, it starts to weep in all four of these different directions. And the light is scattered throughout these dark waters. Now, as that light travels from here and goes in this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction, with the pillar coming up the middle and sitting vertically towards the center, all that light, what's happening is that light is, this is where you get the whole concept of God traveling over the waters and separated the light waters from the dark waters. What happens is the light travels from here and travels over these waters. When it encounters the mountains, it cuts through the bottom of the mountains. So, like I said, these 7 circles represent the mountains that was pushed up from the backside as the light slid from the back coming towards the center, pushing up on the circle, creating mountains. Here go the mountains right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that light is coming, you got the light coming from the center, and then you got excess light that's not making it to that center. Instead of it becoming a part of the pillar up here, it's spilling or weeping from the rim and coming this way until you have this. As that light travels from here to here, it's cutting at the bottom and it's creating the molds. You know, when you read the law, when you read the creation myth of Hermes or Tahuti, it speaks on the gods cutting and hammering out taverns and caves and leaving their seeds behind in the caves. Each one of these right here, the mountains represent the caves. The light comes through, it comes through the bottom of the mountains first as it makes its way to become this right here. And what it's doing basically is cutting at the base of the mountains. You know what I'm saying? So it's cutting and shaping and forming the molds of everything that of all the physical, everything physical in existence is creating a mold for it at the bottom. It's cutting at the base of the mountains or whatever and leaving its seeds within the mold that they leave behind. So just picture, you know how you create a mold for something, you got to cast the clay inside of it, whatever. Just picture the mold and then picture the light creating the mold and creating the base of the mold or whatever. Now, as the light first comes through, like I said, it's coming through and cutting at the base of the mountains all the way until you get this right here, minus this, because this was, you know, from the, when it was coming from the bottom. So just imagine just these gold rings right here. This is what you call the eye. This is the eye of Horus or whatever. This is when the light is completely filtered all the way throughout this top, which was once darkness. So now what you would basically have is, this would actually be dark waters with the gold seeds left behind, and then you have the mountains with the gold light cutting and shaping the molds of everything into existence at the base and under the mountains. Now what's gonna happen after that is all this light starting from here is gonna start to retract and go from here to here. So from here, it'll go from here, from this to the rim here, and then it go from here to here, leaving all this black. From here to here, leaving all this black. From here to here, concentrate, you know, each, when it travels from here to here, all the light that was in between concentrates right here. And then when it travels from here to here, all the light concentrates on this ring, leaving all this black. And then that process continues all the way until you have this gold ring of light concentrated right here with all the light concentrated in this circle and all this here left black. That's how set, because the darkness set represents the darkness. That's how set in the mythology puts out the eye of Horus. The blackness of the that's left behind is the representation of the eye of Horus being put out. Now, as that retraction process starts, the light is now coming over the top. And as it comes over the top, it's shaping and forming the top of the mold and leaving behind the seeds as well. But here's the thing about that. Once we get to this point to where this is flooded with light, that's when all of these right here so what you'll have is basically when all of these right here have finally found their place up here. Oh yeah, let me get to that part too. As each one of these come through here and put on the melanin suit, the same way that light spilled at the top of the table up here, you have the melanin, the melanated waters coming through here and falling back down. Because when that first, when this right here rolls up into a shade with a dark, with a ball of light inside of it and shoots up here, what happens is it leaves behind this part right here. This is when the first light shoots up here. This is where you get Sodom and Gomorrah from. In Sodom and Gomorrah, the lady wasn't supposed to look back. She looked back and turned to a pillar of salt. That's symbolic of the pillar of salt represents the pillar, the backbone or the spine. So when that first ball of light shoots up, the reaction between the light and the melanin creates the ash. We get the whole the ash lad or the ash law kid. You know what I'm saying? From ash law. When this ball of light right here first shoots up, the tailbone protrudes out. It leaves behind a tailbone, which is this. So actually, this right here would be hanging from this in the beginning. The tailbone, and then when the second light shoots through and comes right here, it creates more ash, which would be this part, and it's pushing down. It's called the Gomorrah. Is the Gu Ma Ra. The Gu is the melanated goo, because when the melanin is coming through here and falling to the bottom, this is what's creating the core of the earth. This is why we got oil and all that shit in the earth, because the melanin is dripping as the light shoots up here. You have the melanin coming back down this way, and so you have a ball of light coming up here, but then you have a ball of melanin coming down here. This is this is the ball of, this would be the balls of melanin, but the same way that the light takes on the melanated suit, the ball of melanin, when it comes down, because each one is this where when it says Jesus turned the tables over, the money changes. These the coins right here. It's the money changing right here. Like I said, this one will go up to come up right here and become a ball of light surrounded by a center of light surrounded by a ball of melanin. But then you'd have a ball of melanin hanging from a pillar of ash, or a pillar made by ash. The dark melanated ball, but the same way that the light takes on the melanated suit, the melanin has sprinkles of light around it. That's why I tried to represent that right here with this is actually a black ball of melanin, but it would have, instead of the light being centered in the middle, the melanin balls that fall down here, with the contact from the light, that's because you got the light coming up and the melanin coming down. The contact that it makes with the light that's going up leaves gold sprinkles spread all around the melanated ball. So you would have this black melanated ball with sprinkles of melanin Just like I said, Osiris' body was cut up and thrown in the water, sprinkled all over the water. Osiris is the light that sprinkled all over the dark melanated ball. So the base of this circle right, or these circles, will be black melanin with gold flakes all around them, so to speak. So you'd have the melanin that's coming down, each ball of melanin having a pillar of salt that is suspended on, and then you'd have melanin, same way you have light spilling from the rim over the top of the table up here. You'd have melanin dripping down the center, creating these balls. And then you have melanin that's coming down in these cups right here. This is where you get your holy. It's the holy grail, all that. The holy grail, the cup, the sword, the cup, the sword, the coins. They deal with that, I think, in the tarot. But so you have like, so for instance, same way this one shot up and went up here, you would have these melanin balls coming down here, but then you would have melanin dripping down through the hole and create these melanin mounds, these layers of melanin mounds. That's what each one of these represents. Now these would go on to be the chakras of the earth, or the chakras of your body, because your body is just your physical body in the earth is one and the same. So the same way we have chakras that run up our spine, this is the spine of the earth, the ash, and these are the chakras, and this is back or whatever. So you would have the melanin. So this layer, so this the arm, that the arm, the opener of the way, is called the opener of the way, because like I said, before all these come, this right here shoots, this creates a melanin ball, shoots up right here, and then these follow behind. So this opens the way for these other seven. As the melanin drips through here, it coagulates and creates these layers right here. So when this one comes down, when this melanated ball comes down, you have this area of melanin created, and you have another as the next one goes up and the next one comes down, the melanin that drips in pushes down, comes into the cup, pushes this layer down right here, and it creates a new layer right there, and that process goes all the way on until you get to right here, to the 7th point. Now the 7th point, when you it's the this right here, this will correspond to the 7th chakra. This is the area of fixation right here, the red chakra, the root chakra. Now, mind you, at the top, I remember I said this was all melanin and water. When they speak on God separating the light from the light waters from the dark waters, that's this process where when the light is traveling up here, the water that's inside of the melanin whirlpool, just like the sun causes the waters of the ocean to precipitate and rise, this light rising up here is causing the water that's on the top to precipitate and rise in a mist. So all that, as each one of these raises up, the more these raise up, the more water or mist rises up. So by the time you get to this point right here, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the eighth ball, you know what I'm saying? The hip, the hop, you know what I'm saying? 2 hip to hop around on these niggas. All this will be full of mist. And by this time, the whirlwind, this is the tame of the savage beast. The whirlwind will be the subsiding. It's tamed by the light. So, boom. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus the eighth. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the base. Like I said, this would be this right here would be coming out of the middle of this, with this being the base. Oh, excuse me. This right here will be coming through the middle of this. This point being the base, this being the table. So you have the 7L shadies or 8L shaders, and then you have at the bottom of them or at the base, you have this with the light spreading this way. Now, and then you would have these 7 melanin balls coated with gold flakes. Okay, now, which way I want to take y'all? And there's so much shit I can go, so many directions I can go with this shit. Let me see. Speak on this real quick. Jacob wrestling with the angel. It's funny because when I started imagining all this shit, you know, and I drew this image right here. After I drew the image, I just looked on it and looked at it and meditated for a minute, and I started seeing things. Jacob wrestled with the angel. Well, we know Jacob is nothing more than the light traveling up the Jacob. The whole story of Jacob wrestling with the angel is basically the rise of the Kundalini, just like Moses